I think Mr. Gottman has a question.
Well,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was looking at this, on section 5, part C. Unless I missed something, I didn't see, on the last agendas online with the cheerleading coaches. Was that,
If you remember when we had the agenda session, the cheerleading coaches were on there, Ms. Warning asked that we be tabled.
yeah,
She has reinstated for this one that was added on today.
oh, I would have changed my voting. I didn't see that.
Right, you can still change your vote.
Okay, really? I can't?
America.
But there is a caveat, only one time during your 4-year term.
Well,
Choose wisely.
Well,
So then
I have
on
a comment.
section
If we're gonna
C-
reopen this, we had comments for the audience on agenda items, and I was kind of expecting some of you in the audience to speak on these agenda items, and you kind of missed your window. Was that a mistake? And can we open up opportunity for these ladies to speak on an agenda
They
item?
certainly can talk about it under non-agenda items.
Well, I think it pertains to something that we're voting on, so
Okay.
I would like to
That's
hear
the
what
case,
they
then
have to
yes,
say
okay.
before we vote.
All right.
Is that acceptable, Mr. President?
Acceptable to me.
Help me, what do we do when we're going back on?
We're gonna
So
revote?
are we rescinding the motion or just for 5?
Brian caused all the trouble.
I'm sorry.
I make a motion to rescind the vote on section 5, supplemental contracts, pending comments from the audience who missed their window to speak on agenda
On the
items.
issuance.
On the supplemental contract issuance, section C,
Okay.
John seconds.
Under personnel.
under personnel.
We have a roll call vote on that, please?
One moment, please.
If you agree with me to rescind that, and give the people in the audience a
Give them a chance to.
motion, a minute to
Okay.
respond.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Mr. Gottman.
Aye.
Dr. Kalkstein. Mr. McIntyre.
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell. Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We're
Motion
just all
carries.
over the place now.
Now we'll open it up to
Now we're
comments.
back to section 4. Mr. President, comments from the audience on agenda items.
Personnel, under issuance, anybody wish to address the board? I guess cheerleading? Please state your name and address, just for the record, please.
Kimberly Ruger, 775 12th Street, Pitcairn.
Thank you.
I am also the president of GCBC, which is Gateway Cheerleading Booster Club. This year by far has been our worst experience with a head coach that I've ever had in the 6 years that I've dealt with cheerleading. From her lack of communication, not coming to any board meetings, not returning. I have one email since last March from her where the JV coach, I have probably 19 or 20. I also have emails that were forwarded from him to our secretary that were sent out. So we're not having any type of communication with her at all. I've addressed it to Mr. Ravisti. I've also gone to the principal, and I just feel like we keep getting dismissed. She's not communicating with anybody, even the cheerleaders. We had Pitt Cheer Day. She was asked to talk to the varsity cheerleaders. My daughter is a varsity cheerleader. There was never a comment made about doing Pitt Cheer Day to any of our cheerleaders. But she was telling the other coach that they weren't getting back to her. We finally went to the cheerleaders. They said there was never an issue. There was never a topic. So, it's not just the communication. I mean, there's been issues all school year. From recognition night, she was supposed to get a hold of Pitcairn. I forwarded the information. There was never any communication by her. We had to step in a couple days before recognition night and do the work for her. So I do know that the JV coach did 95% of the work this whole entire year. He came to almost all of our board meetings. If he didn't come, he gave us an agenda to speak up. So my concern is that she's getting paid to do a job that she's not doing. And like I said, in the 6 years that I've been doing this, never once have I had an issue that I felt that I had to come and do something like this for. So it's really disheartening to have cheerleaders say they don't want to come back next year if she's the coach. And especially for us parents that paid $1,200 our first year for our girls to coach, and then $700 to $900 every year after that. So it's frustrating to sit there every meeting and have her not even show up. And she has an agenda, a coach's agenda, on our list every single month that we have a meeting. So I just wanted to put that out there. I've sent emails. I've talked to and forwarded some emails to Val. We didn't think that this was on the agenda today, but we were coming to discuss changes to tryouts, and I was gonna mention this also. So again, I appreciate your time, and I just hope that you guys will look into it before you guys approve her for another year. Or at least have somebody discuss with her that she has to communicate with parents and the cheerleaders. It made us look so bad to not have all of varsity going to Pitt Cheer Day because she never even mentioned it once. So their frustration is building and building. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Mindy Mason. I currently reside at 1242 Northwestern Drive, Monroeville, Pennsylvania. I too am here this evening. Again, I apologize that we were not able to get it on the agenda. This is our first time ever having to do anything like this. From now on, we promise we will keep updated on that, we promise. But I am here as well to back up other moms on the GCBC committee. We all have girls in the program, and this year has been an absolute disaster from March last year up until now, and tryouts haven't even gotten started yet. Already on the agenda is to change the tryout regulations, which is down the line going to limit girls from being able to further participate on the squad or even participate at all. I find this to be a huge, huge issue, especially when there are so many people who come from such diverse socioeconomic demographics within this school system. I would also like to point out that I wish that you would definitely put it on the table, keep it on the table until everyone's been heard or this has been dealt with about the coach getting another contract out of this. Like Kim said, she was not at our meetings the whole year, and I attended all the meetings on purpose, not just for points, so that I could make sure that my daughter, gets things on the squad, but because I like to be there and I like to know what's exactly going on. She was never there. She was there for 3 meetings. At one point during this school year, right before the Heinz Field playoff game, it was a big, huge rift started between the JV and the varsity squads. This got started as the varsity coach had told her varsity girls that it was up to them if JV got to cheer at the Heinz football game. She was not authorized to say that at all. That in turn sent the varsity girls to start a petition with the student body and take it to the principal. I had my JV daughter texting me, crying on the phone, wanting me to come and get her because it had become so intense between the JV and the varsity cheerleaders. I am a former cheerleader. I'm sorry to take up so much time.
No, can you clarify the petition? They started a petition to keep the JV from going? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they did. And you can actually speak with Mr. Murphy about that. He is aware of that, and I'm sure that he can bring that information as well. I forgot where I was at. I'm so sorry. As a former cheerleader, I was a competitive cheerleader before. I've never been on a squad or seen any squad operate with a coach that is just not into communicating with the parents, is not into making her team a team. It seems like she had separated the JV from the varsity when in prior years, as I've been on GCBC, these squads always acted as one team, and that is how it should be. I just feel that a coach who is absent in a lot of her meetings with us has no desire to communicate with us whatsoever should definitely not hold a position with this school district. I think she's gonna cause more strife for the girls ahead of time, or ahead in the future. And that's all I have to say. I just finished an email to all of you today. I apologize. It takes me 3 hours to construct emails. I will have that sent out to you this evening. I hope you will all be able to enjoy it.
We have
Not
a
enjoy it, read
3-hour
through
email
it.
coming.
No, it just took me 3 hours. This took me 3 hours to construct it because I wanted everything to be perfect and I wanted to make all my points. So hopefully we'll all be able to read that email this evening and then make an educated decision after that.
Thank you.
And Mindy, you could encourage other cheer parents to contact the board as well with their comments.
I have encouraged through emails to just let other parents know that if you do have any issues or any problems, that now would be your time to contact members of the board, Randy Rivesti, Val Warning especially, and let them know, let all of you know what exactly has been going on for this past year. I know that in the past, last year, when we had an issue right off the bat with this new coach, it was like our issue fell on deaf ears, and a lot of the mothers became discouraged. A lot of cheerleaders are planning on not coming back. A lot of cheerleaders even quit. So I don't like to see that happen to a program that I am so proud of, and so I just love it. From the time that my daughter has, joined the Gateway Cheerleaders, it's been a phenomenal thing for us. So, okay, my time's up. Thank you all so very much.
If I could just quickly address it, it seems to be a running theme between, some of you folks. As far as the head coach not being present at the booster meetings, is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
I'm not sure what the expectations are or what they were in the past. Just from my experience, I've been associated with like football boosters and basketball, volleyball boosters. And I can speak from my experience with the Women Hills. I'd be very surprised to learn that George Novak attended more than 3 booster meetings in his entire career. So it might be what the expectation was.
Right. Can I just add to that point, though, that you made? This isn't football. In fact, according to federal court, the Second U.S. Circuit Court, this is not a sport at all. This does not constitute a sport under Title IX, and so that may be true for the football coaches. Maybe they don't need to.
I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't expect them to be there. If that's something that you expect and you work out with the coach, I get that. What I'm trying to maybe express is that's not an uncommon thing.
Correct.
With any booster organization and a head coach.
Can I just say that in the 6
Could
years?
you go to the mic so the folks at home?
Can I hear you, please? Thank you.
In the 6 years that I've been a part of GCBC, the head coaches have always come to the meetings. They may miss 1 or 2, but there's always a coach's report for them to keep us updated, let us know what's going on, and just share with all the parents that don't get to be a part of it that often. So there's always that coach's report, and we haven't had one since last June.
Okay,
So-
that's admirable of them for them to do
Right,
that.
and we've had coaches that have been such great role models that, like my daughter, who has graduated 2 years now, is still in contact with her, still goes for advice. And this coach, like she said, put a wedge between JV and varsity, seniors and juniors, and the board and herself.
Okay.
So, again, it's an issue this year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ma'am, before you sit down, you indicated that it had been raised last year. Was it
Yes,
raised?
last
I don't
year.
recall it being raised to this board. Am I wrong?
Well, I actually did send an email to not only Randy Rivesti, who I was speaking with over the phone as well, but I
Right.
also sent an email to Val Warren as well. At that moment, at that time, she actually sent me to speak with Kelly Perry, who was the junior high cheerleading coach.
Okay.
Apparently, in the past, she has been the varsity cheerleading coach, and she thought that she might be able to lead me to the answers that I was looking for, but unfortunately that wasn't.
Okay, but it hadn't been
So I
brought to this-
apologize for mentioning it.
It had not been brought to this board, though, right?
No, not at
Okay,
that time.
that was my
My
question.
16-year-old daughter actually had asked me after that time to let it drop,
Okay,
and, because I only had 3 moms
yeah, okay.
affected with me.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you again, sorry.
So to go on a little bit with the
Anybody else wish to address this?
Johnson. I live at 314 Penland Court in Monroeville. And I wanted to address the issues of cheerleading too. I wanted to speak specifically about the significant changes that have been proposed to the tryout format for this year. And many of these are coming from the varsity coach, is my understanding. The biggest change probably is that current freshmen, next year sophomores, will be eligible to be on the varsity squad. That is a very big change. Given the numbers of freshmen, sophomore, and juniors currently on the squad, that'd be 29 girls vying for the 16 minimum spots on the varsity squad. That's gonna leave a lot of disappointed girls, unfortunately. Under these circumstances, sophomores could bump seniors off the squad. These girls, through the years, and their families have made a significant commitment to the cheerleading squad in their time, their energy, and finances, a significant financial commitment. There's also a proposal to reduce the JV squad from 24 girls to 20. At this point in time, we're reducing the number of girls that are able to participate when there is really an increased interest in cheerleading, which is kind of exciting that for a while their numbers were down. They're back up. I think we should be encouraging participation rather than limiting participation. Basically, part of the concern about the tryout format too is there's a large number of the points for tryouts are derived from tumbling. Given the cutoffs, and if I did the math right, if you can tumble, you walk in with a 13% advantage over a child who cannot tumble. As I'm seeing at the events, tumbling is not used extensively. One thing that is used extensively is stunting, where they hold the girls up and do the pyramids and things like that, and that is not at all a part of the tryout format. Even though that is done extensively and that is taught and practiced. Tumbling is not taught at all through the cheerleading program. You need to walk through the door knowing how to tumble. And I don't think that we should value the skills that are taught or in the program less than, I got myself confused here. I think we should value the skills that the girls are taught within the program more highly than they are being valued, rather than the skills they walk in the door with. If it's important that a girl tumble, she should be taught to tumble then, and that's not done. There was some talk about quality versus quantity, and all the girls involved, they're quality individuals, they're quality cheerleaders. They deserve the opportunity to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill.
Anybody else at this time wish to address the board?
All right, Scotty, I would like to make a motion that we table the hiring of the head coach from section C pending further investigation and discussion of the concerns of the parents, and to give ones that may not be here a chance to respond also.
Was this tabled previously?
Yeah, but she put it back on.
Did we vote on table?
It was just removed from the agenda.
It wasn't tabled.
It was a study session, so we didn't.
It was a
vote on it.
study session.
Okay, that's okay.
Is this, in your motion, do you want the cheerleading coaches or just one coach?
I think it's just the head coach that they are questioning.
I would think they're both.
We need.
Typically, I would do all of them because the head coach sometimes
I
then
think
appoints the
we should
coaches
table it
below.
until the chair of the athletic committee is available
Okay.
to actually discuss this in public.
That's all cheerleading? All
Correct.
four, okay.
Is that going to cause a problem to not have any coach for a month for the cheerleading squad?
Tryouts, I believe, are March 2019.
March 19th to the 21st are tryouts.
Yes.
Yeah, it could be a factor.
Could be that,
That's
because our
the
meeting
problem.
is until the third Tuesday.
We do not have the coaches judging.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
Second.
I know my
Somebody-
cheerleading.
You do?
Three girls he knows.
I can teach you a few things. I can
There's a plethora of information in there about cheerleading.
Okay, we have the motion read back.
I need a second.
Second?
Somebody needs a second.
What's the motion first?
Motion is to table the hiring of the cheerleading staff pending further investigation and discussion on the accusations brought forth by the parents.
John seconds.
Second?
Motion by Ms. Rucci, second by Mr. Ritter. Questions or comments?
Yes.
Roll call.
Mr. Gottman,
Aye.
Dr. Kalkstein,
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre,
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell,
No.
Mr. Ritter,
Aye.
Mr. Williams,
Aye.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Motion carries.